Yo, I move in tranquility, also virility, keep it 100, and I move with fertility, giving birth to all the truth in the seasons planet, trying to be one of the dopest kings that receive this planet, taking dominion, and I ain't got time for no minions. I just want to make this money, stack my bread up with millions, do this for my children, and do it all for my legacy. Let me see, wisdom, knowledge, long life, and longevity. I'm a king. I'm a king, I'm a king, I'm a king. All right, man, y'all know what it is, man. Y'all know what's popping, man. This is Virility Kings, the Virility Kings podcast, man. Y'all got me, y'all got my man Tony Magnum, and y'all got my man Brian, Evolving Herbivore, man. We back at it, third episode, and we're very excited about this topic, man. As y'all can see on the title, and first of all, let me go ahead and thank everybody for watching. Salute to my man Brian. He made that clear on the last episode, and I understand it is our duty to thank y'all. Whoever's watching or supporting, hitting that like button, go ahead and hit that like button. We appreciate you, man, and we love y'all support. If you're sharing any of the videos of the podcast, thank you, 100%. But look, we're excited. As y'all can see, the title is Red Pill Valid? Now, I already know this is going to be a serious podcasting episode right here, because this is a big deal currently in modern day society. So definitely gonna dig deep on that. And as y'all see in the title, we got my man Moff, a special guest. I met him on this app called the Stereo app. If you've never heard of it, definitely look into it. It's a powerful app, man, where a lot of people are doing podcast shows. They're discussing powerful topics. I'm talking about, like, I've had some in-depth conversations on this app with some very intelligent, smart people. Moff was one of them. Just some smart guys, man, brilliant guys, and I suggest that y'all get on that app. But that's where I met Moff at, and we had some conversations about this, so I'm excited to have him on the show today, and we all three of us going to dig deep. And I already know Tony got a strong feel about it too. Ain't that right, Tony? I know you got that powerful view on that red pill. That's been your whole vibe the whole time. Right?
Yes, sir. Everybody about to get their daily dose right here, right now. Facts.
All right, man. Well, look, pretty much without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and let my man Moff in, and, we're going to get this show popping, man. We're going to get it started. You know what I'm saying? So we're going to throw Moff in. What's going on, Moff? Salute, man. How you doing?
We're doing, gentlemen. Thank you for having me, man. This is awesome.
Man, no problem, man. I'm excited, man. Like I said before, man, when I met you on Stereo, we dug deep on some powerful stuff. And it was a dope, conversation. And I think that we can really dig deep and help a lot of other men who may have misconceptions about red pill, who may have, the wrong idea, or who may have the right idea. You know what I'm saying? And, me personally, I do have some like I'm going to keep it 100 with y'all. I do agree with a lot of the red pill way of thinking and the mindset. So I'm going to go ahead and start it off and say that. You know what I'm saying? I do agree with a good amount of it. I do have some things that I want us to discuss on here. I do have some questions. I do have a different perspective that maybe some guys could even consider that follow the red pill mindset, right? So that's why I think we're going to dig deep on this. So without further ado, I'm going to start with my man Tony, right? Tony Magnum. To you, and all of us are going to express this, right? To you, Tony, what is red pill? To Tony Magnum, what's red pill?
Red pill, I believe it's the concept of you remember the movie The Matrix? Morpheus came to Neo and said, you could take the red pill or you could take the blue pill. The red pill meaning seeing the world for what it truly is, the ugly truth, or you could go back to your normal stuff and live in the pretty lie. So that's where, like, the framing of red pill, blue pill comes from. Now, I'm going to say I'm a person who took the red pill and basically seeing the world. Yes, it's not all sunshine and rainbows. This is something that we all grew up understanding here. The world ain't all pretty. You got to work hard, yada, yada. But when we're talking about in the field of masculinity, or basically men versus women, the red pill comes into understanding the risk actually involving with pursuing women. So that's what a lot of more red pill people who claim to be red pill. That's what they try to tell people. Because even we heard this stuff, like we do these conversations right here. We talk in the locker rooms. We talk in the barbershops. We talk real man issues. And one of these issues is the risk of dealing with women. How many times have y'all talked to one of your boys and he's complaining about his wife? It's but he's stuck in that the blue pill mindset. This is what he has to do, but he's complaining about it every step of the way. And me, I guess my first dose of actual red pill was self esteem. Okay, when I was in anger management, my platoon sent me to anger management because I was tired of everybody's bullshit at one point. They sent me to anger management. 80% of it was about relationship issues. And one day I finally rogered up and said, why do y'all stress yourself out so much about these relationships? If the person's irritating you that damn bad, just leave. Then a female, what did she do? Of course, she tried to flip the script and accuse me of her bullshit by saying, I'm just lonely. So let me get this straight. You're accusing me of being lonely, correct? Aren't you the motherfucker who signed a contract in order to supposedly stay with someone the rest of your life? And now you're complaining about it. That's why you're in here in this anger management bullshit.
Facts. I feel
Okay.
you.
And a last note, then I'll let somebody else have it. So when you take the red pill, you are acknowledging the risk. You got to start thinking more logically. The risk to reward ratio, especially when it comes to women. I said a little other times, I hinted about it, about when you sign that contract, you let them move in with you, or you give them your seed. These are the hooks. Big Daddy government, the big stamp of all, is going to need to freaking enforce, and that's who they want to actually take care of them. But they need to go through you. Sign that contract, let them move in, get your seed, and now they got Big Daddy come in, make sure this man does what I tell him, and he's coming because you signed up for it.
Yeah, I feel you on that. And I'm gonna say this real quick because I'm dealing with Big Daddy government right now, and I'm gonna tell you right now, I got that bitch in a headlock, straight up. And,
Oh,
and the reason why I have it in a headlock is because I had to move and maneuver in a certain way because I seen that shit. I'm gonna dig a little deeper into this further into the episode, but I was able to see that, from a bird's eye view, and I was able to kind of maneuver as a king to put myself in a situation where I'd be okay in that with that. Even if Big Daddy government want to do what they want to do, even if the mother of my child want to do what she want to do, I was able to maneuver. All right, yo, Moff. So, and thank you, Tony, on that. Moff, what is your view, Moff, of the red pill? What does the red pill mean to you, and what is that?
Yeah, I mean that was actually a pretty good explanation by Tony as far as the origins and the stories, as far as the movie, the Matrix, and everything like that. The way that I like to drill it down is the red pill is a praxeology. It's not a philosophy. It's not an ideology. It is a predictive framework on human behavior and how humans act in certain situations. So it's not necessarily about knowledge and empiricism and things like that, but it's sort of a study of human behavior and how humans act. So if we want to dig it down or sort of drill it down into layman's terms, I classify the red pill as it's the man's discovery of fire. It is what you choose to do with it is totally up to you. We're just giving you the information. It's like, I just work here, man, right? It's you have fire, you can heat your house with it, you can cook your food with it, you can light your way with it, or you can mess your life up, burn your house down, burn yourself, burn other people, and things like that. So red pill way of thinking is sort of a misnomer as well, because a lot of people say red pill philosophy or red pill ideology. Really all it is understanding, and I think mitigating the risk when it comes to interacting with women is a good way of putting it, but it's understanding why men do what we do, why women do what they do, and then how can we use this knowledge to our advantage. It's like having the opposing team's playbook and then using it so we can have better success when it comes to dating, when it comes to relationships, and even other things in our lives, like our jobs or vocations or hobbies and things like that. But it's mostly in the realm of the intersexual dynamics. So red pill is basically exactly that. It's waking up to the truths about the way things actually are versus what we want them to be or what we were sort of raised to think they are, and then using that to our advantage to get better results out of life. I mean, the number one thing, I think the most important piece when it comes to digging into the red pill is this idea of mental point of origin. Men are raised do the right thing, be a stand-up guy, put others before you, put them on a pedestal, be less so they can be more, light yourself on fire to keep others warm, basically. And
Facts.
this idea of mental point of origin is I'm putting myself first, I'm putting my needs first, I'm responsible for my life before anything else. And as long as I'm taken care of, and then that can sort of branch out and I can expand those responsibilities to other areas. But it's getting away from this idea of you need to do this because that's what a real man does, or you need to do X because that's just what you should do, as opposed to doing what you want to do.
Oh man, that was an awesome explanation, man. Both of y'all, Tony, you know what I'm saying, and you, Moff, and I agree with that, man. You see,
Yeah.
that's why I'm glad I asked you to come, because you're hitting things that like I pay attention to. Because I think a lot of people, or a lot of men are, or I guess, what is it called? The MGTOW? Is that what it is? MTGOW? I
Yeah,
think,
MGTOW. That's a part. Yeah, that's a part of it.
I think that the biggest emphasis is to really focus on, like, kind of what Tony was saying, like the risks and like all of that. But I like how you broke it down, because you're bringing in the full dynamics concerning red pill, and really the whole point of taking a red pill is to get, this new understanding and the truth and the reality of what the fuck is really going on in all facets, not just women. Can't just sit here and focus on all the bullshit with women and forget about our bullshit. Ain't nothing going to improve. So, man, that was a great explanation, man, and I feel that, and I gravitate more to that aspect of what you were saying. Yo, Brian, what's your view on red pill, man? To Brian.
Yo, I agree with 100% what you said, Moff and Tony. Like y'all have a great view on it, like for real. Because like I know I want to see things for the truth, especially like as I've been growing older, and learning more. Like obviously I don't have everything figured out. I'm still a young buck, learning my way through things, but like not letting my arrogance get in the way, or like certain things of that nature, like with the blue pill, like really understanding things with the red pill, like how things work, how things operate, seeing things for the truth of the matter of it. Because I mean, I feel like a lot of people are still caught in the arrogance of like, mommy told me this, so this must work. And I feel like that's not okay with me, you know what I'm saying? Like I want to go out there and I want to figure it out, like whether that's with someone showing me or me figuring out my way, you know what I'm saying? But to come down to the truth of the matter, that's basically, I mean, how I see the red pill in my eyes. I mean, I know I don't have a great concept of it, but like that's basically how I see it.
And that's totally commendable, man. You know what I'm saying? I appreciate your humble expression of it, which is dope. Because, like, that's another good thing, too. I wanted to make sure that we had 4 different perspectives of this, because we all have a different level of understanding concerning it. So that means many men can be affected. Somebody who might gravitate more to my perspective, Moff's, Tony's, Brian's. So nobody's better than anybody. I think we're all just in a fight to gain more understanding about life and everything. And I think this can help other men as well, as they're watching this. So that's dope and that's powerful, man. So here's my thing, because obviously the title is red pill thinking valid? Can we agree that right now in current society and in modern day society, there's probably like the true authentic red pill view that relates more so to the Matrix kind of understanding of it? And then there's this new push of red pill that may be kind of mostly in that area, but kind of still a little fabricated with a slight doctrination a little bit, like a kind of like focusing on the risks, focusing on all right. The best way that I could put it is I feel like a lot of this kind of places a man into a victim mindset when it comes to women. And that's the thing that gets me about the red pill thing, because it's like, yo, we're men, okay? We're men. We're kings. Yo, that's the point. That's why I call this show Virility Kings. We're kings. So the last thing that we should be doing as men is walking as a victim in any way, shape, or form, or looking at women, or looking at the government, or looking at anything as, oh God, I have to do this and do that to prevent them from I guess messing up my life. And that's the one thing that gets me a little bit about it. My thing is, and what I encourage men to do, is to move like a king, right? And listen, I had to learn. I was fucking up in my life. I was doing all the wrong shit. I was not embracing my masculinity. I was because I was raised by a single parent, so I was not embracing my masculinity. I damn for sure was on some blue pill shit. Okay, moved by my emotions, flipping out, blaming everybody for the fucked up things in my life. So I'm not trying to act like I'm the expert. I'm just coming with a new view, right? I think that we should start moving as kings and not fall into a victimizing or victim position as a man. And what I'm hearing a lot of guys talk about is the women, is hypergamy in women, and women moving in that hypergamy state, and that leading them to obviously go for a man with the most money and to potentially take advantage of them if they do, or get them for their money, marry them. Okay, now I got half their shit. I have the right to have half of their money, right? And then cheat on the man, fuck somebody else, fuck their best friend, and then now they get a divorce, and then now she leaves with half the shit. I understand this position, I understand this view, but I just feel like pushing this puts men into a position where they're like, oh God, well, I should not get married because I might marry a woman and she may do this shit to me. It's some fucked up shit. That's fucked up for a woman to do that shit intentionally. That is a fucked up toxic person. All right?
Yeah.
To purposely do some shit like that. Okay? In my personal opinion, I don't think that all women think like that or would want to even do some shit like that to their husband, right? In my personal opinion, I think that a man should move like a king, a wise king, and choose wisely in terms of the woman that he chooses to marry, that he chooses to make his partner, his life partner. I think he should choose wisely as a king. I think he needs to learn wisely, understand red flags, and pick the right queen. That's my personal opinion. How do you feel about that, Moff?
Yeah, so I mean, let's dive into the hypergamy piece a little bit because this always kind of comes up. And as far as the victim mentality and victim mindset, I don't have time for those guys, right? This is like you can be angry that the sun is hot. You can be angry that the sky is blue. You can be angry that women want their best possible option. Like it doesn't change reality. So I mean, it's fine, man. Like if you want to take that other route, go do that. That's perfectly fine. I'm not your coach. I'm not your guru. I'm not your savior, right? So when we talk about hypergamy, it's a subconscious thing. Hypergamy in a nutshell is this idea from a evolutionary perspective. Women want to get with the best possible option of guy she can get, her best perceived option, right? Because what does that mean? She's trying to essentially ensure her survival. She's pairing herself with the best warrior, best looking, best fighter, best resource gatherer. Because what does that mean? That means she's going to ensure her survival and then the survival of her children, which means you can pass on more children, et cetera, et cetera. And so all women are naturally hypergamous, but it's not the idea of I'm going to get with this guy, take his money, and then bounce, right? Now, there are women out there like that. I mean, we've seen it. The name of the kid escapes me, but this whole big case with the NBA player and this went on Twitter, and you guys might know off the top of your head. I don't, but it's just this idea that understanding that the burden of performance is on men, right? Women love opportunistically, men love idealistically. When I say that, so women love men. Men are only loved for what they can provide. Only women, children, and dogs are loved unconditionally. So it is your burden of performance as a man to be always out there on your purpose, chasing your mission, chasing excellence, moving like a king, not making your woman or any woman the primary focus of your life and why you do anything. But it's always striving to be that best possible option. So if we understand it, we can use it. If we know that all women are hypergamous, then we know that we can't slack off. We know that we can't stop doing what we need to do to maintain that level of attraction, to make sure that she wakes up every morning and sees us as that number one best possible guy for her.
So, Moff, do you think that all women think like that? Like, do you think that all women are hypergamous?
Well, it's not. It's subconscious, right? So another thing I like to bring up is women will do shit tests or competency tests. And they do this, a lot of stuff, it's without thinking. It's so hardwired in their brain from tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of years of trying to find that best possible guy. It's just the subconscious things, the attraction triggers that are hit. So there's a reason why a woman is more attracted to a taller guy a lot of times than a shorter guy, because he is viewed by her as a better possible mating option, because taller, broader shoulders, better fighter, better resource gatherer, all that stuff is just going on in the hindbrain. It's not actively like, that guy looks like a better father for my kids, so I'm going to dump this dude and go for this guy over here. It's all subconscious hindbrain shit that they're not even aware of. So, but it's the same reason as when a woman is like married to a guy or with a guy, he's taking out the trash and he's doing the dishes. She can't figure out why she's not attracted to her husband that does the chores and is a great husband, but she can't figure out why she doesn't want to bang her husband but wants to bang her personal trainer, right? It's all the stuff. It's just the stuff she can't figure out. It's in the back of her mind. It's subconscious. So yeah, all women are naturally hypergamous just because they've had to be. It's a survival mechanism, but that doesn't necessarily mean that all women are going to leave at the first opportunity that a guy with more money or a higher level of status pays her any modicum of attention.
Man, powerful. 100% powerful. And I totally, it helps me understand better as well. So that's powerful. Yo, Brian, well, actually, all right, no, I ain't gonna skip Tony like that, but that's powerful. So Tony, my bad, man. I ain't trying to skip you. So, so Tony, what's your view on that, bro? Like, what do you think concerning that? Like, what do you think about the hypergamy thing? And do you feel like women, like Moff just said, he said it's subconscious. So most women probably, I think, me personally, I think that some women move more in it and some women don't. So some women subconsciously move more in the direction of hypergamy and some women don't. And I think it simply has to do with their life and their childhood. Trauma, a lot of the times trauma has a lot to do with it. If they went through things where they lack security as a child, they're probably going to go more in the direction of hypergamy. Their father wasn't around and they didn't feel that security from their father in terms of these things that women want from a man. They're probably going to move more into their hypergamy, and some women won't, I think. That's my personal view. What you think, Tony, about this hypergamy thing in terms of that with women?
Well, just on that last point you mentioned, that's where the threat of big daddy government, the welfare state, not to sound too political, but it is a factor where the safety of our society that has been built by men has made resource gathering a lot easier. So with the sense of competition almost being taken out of play, that's where women think they can just do it too. Here we come. And then with Big Daddy government offering his incentives, now women see the easier option to get their own survival needs met. So they don't look at men. They don't respect men as in our role to be just normal civilians, provider and protector. So that's a factor right there on that last point you just made. Back to the point about hypergamy. Think of it like this. A woman could be dating Superman. I know there's recent news about Superman. We're not going to go into that, but the character Superman, they believe that they can do better. So it's just kind of weird. Like, oh, I'm dating Superman, the man, but I can do better, and that's the hypergamy thing. So, and another thing I kind of destroy the not all argument. I hate it when people put it up there because it's like there's not all of everything. So I believe it's kind of a waste of time to just throw it out there. You do have to take the time to filter who's where in what little point. If you're sitting back being defensive and rational about the situation, but they will tell on themselves eventually. So it's not about saying women are all one way or another. It's just understanding that all women have the option. That's what you have to be aware of. They all
treat every gun like it's loaded.
Boom, there it is. So yeah, so it's like, but on that note, I want to pass the mic. See, I'm coming from the point of the monk mode. The LI take, I know I'm a fat, ugly guy. So women don't initially look at me for sex appeal, yada, yada. But after they're done riding the cock carousel or the alphas, then they look towards a guy like me to be more responsible and pay the bills. No, I refuse to play that game. And I'm not going to use that not all to keep on that line of hope to like, oh, maybe this one's different. Maybe I'm not going to play roulette with my life. And that means thinking with my heart and thinking with my dick. I'm not going to do it. So I promote more monk mode. In our modern society, we don't have to go down that route of our fathers or ancestors prior to us. We don't need to produce bodies to work the farm. So take advantage of our modern society and realize this. If I'm a strong, independent man, like the women claim they are, if I'm a strong, independent man, do I really need a woman? I got a wash machine over there, I got a dishwasher over here, and I can handle my own business, if you know what I mean. So how useful is a woman really to me? And I want men to acknowledge that. So the idea of finding a woman, go into the more traditional sense. If you want to be that traditional man, I highly suggest you build your castle first. So you got your castle, you got the money saved up for X amount of kids that you want, yada yada. So here comes the little thing trying to fit her role to be your wife. So you got to ease your position to, this is mine, this is your role. If you don't do your role, you're fired. Okay, she's gone, the woman's gone, but you still got your castle.
Facts. And that clearly proves the fact that, women, they could do whatever the fuck they want to do. They could cheat, they could whatever. But at the end of the day, our role and what we do and what we play as men, we end up, keeping that security, and they end up losing the security that they had from us. Which shows that, in all actuality, women need a man in their life. They do, whether they want to admit it or not. They do. They do. Yep. And whether they realize it or not, they've been taught that ever since they were a kid, and they've been trained to please a man and make a man happy so that they could sustain that security, whether they realize it or not. You know what I'm saying? That's why when you ask a woman, what kind of man are you looking for? Man, she will describe the most dopest, awesome, strongest, amazing, successful man that don't even fucking exist. And it's like, yo, what the hell make you think you're going to find a man like that? You want fucking Dr. Mr. Incredible at this bitch. Like, it's not happening. That's why I fuck with Kevin Samuels. Okay? This is why I rock with Kevin Samuels, because that's all he's trying to get these women to understand. The man that you want ain't going to be interested in you. And if you want to at least have a fucking chance to get that man, there's some things you got to improve about yourself. There's things that you're going to have to take accountability about concerning yourself. So I totally agree with that, fellas. And I want y'all to know I agree with what y'all saying as well. But, I do have a couple things to challenge it. So, Brian, what's your view, brother, in terms of this thing here, this hypergamy thing with women, and that whole concept with the women in this situation with Red Pill?
I think subconsciously we all grew up with that, right? Because I feel like a lot of moms and fathers have kind of impregnated, you gotta get with a taller dude or a richer guy or someone at a higher status. So I think subconsciously that's laying around, but I feel like at a deeper level, all women are different. We're all are gonna have to filter out what we have to filter out. But what Tony was saying, eventually they're gonna tell us who they are and what they represent, and what they stand for and what their beliefs are. So I feel with that being said, I do go into monk mode as well, because I like to choose wisely. I don't like to just, you know what I'm saying? Just play Russian roulette, like Tony was saying. Am I gonna pick her? Am I gonna pick her? She got what it has to be a mutual thing for me, and I feel that's why I grind as hard as I grind, is because I want to be disciplined and a man of my word, and my balls a man of my word, and really hold down what I'm saying, because I know a lot of men that will talk their game up and talk like they're this, but are not really like that. And same with females. Females act like they got it going on, and they're doing what they need to do, and they're meeting to a man's role standards, but they're not. So I feel we really gotta choose wisely on who we're picking, because when it comes down all said and done, you don't want someone that's just gonna high and dry and leave you. But that's why I work as hard as I do, is to secure myself, make sure I'm stable, make sure I'm secure, make sure my foundation and myself is grounded.
Man, that's powerful, man. And how old are you again, Brian? You, 25, 26?
25.
25. Yo, Moff, you, 28, right?
29. I'll be 30 in February.
Okay. So Moff's 29, and then you 34, right, Tony? 34,
yes, sir.
And I'm 33. So, Brian, I just want to commend you right now, man, because you're 25, and you really sound like you got your head together, man. I'm going to clap it up for you real quick, because, at 25... I wish I would have been thinking like that, because I probably wouldn't have made the decisions and the choices that I made. So to say that, here's the thing. Here's the thing
Right.
that I want to slightly challenge with what y'all saying, because one thing I noticed that y'all do agree on is this whole Russian roulette mindset, right? You don't want to play Russian roulette as men. Totally understand that shit. I agree with that 100%, right? In terms of choosing a woman or a queen and marrying a queen, does it have to be viewed as Russian roulette, or could it possibly be viewed as you becoming more better and strategic in terms of choosing a queen? You see what I'm saying? Like, because here's the thing that pops in my mind with that. I feel like marrying a woman is pretty much this narrative is pushed, or this the pushing of this narrative sounds like to me that it's like, yo, if you marry a woman, man, and you do it with the government, you're playing Russian roulette, and she could straight up take half your money, half your shit, and you lose half your shit, and now you fucked up in the game. That's what That's what it sounds like to me, and I totally understand that shit. I get it. We don't want to put ourselves in a bad position, but why aren't the red pill community pushing or even teaching men on how they could potentially choose a better queen so that they could lower the chances? And it doesn't even have to be correlated to Russian roulette, or that doesn't have to be the analogy. It could literally be, yo, this king did a great job at choosing the right woman.
Real quick,
Tony, you want to speak on that? All right.
yes. The thing that we have to realize that we're against, you may be the almost squared away, upstanding man as possible as you could be. But the thing you have to understand is there's always the competition of the simp army and big daddy government. So you might be the most stellar man ever, but we're raised in a society right now that's all safe and secure because they respect the power of them more. If big daddy, the simp army, those are the fellow co-workers who always want to, the female wants to tell sob stories to when her man is smacking around her head just to make her feel good. And also the power big daddy government gives you. All you got to do is sleep with Pookie and Ray Ray. We'll put them in jail and you're independent on your own, living off the welfare state. So that's the concern right there. So you being as squared away as possible, is it being respected by this individual woman? So that's what you have to ask yourself. And I don't know. I look for red flag words. If a female talks about, first of all, she's independent, she says that, red flag. If she says she's a free spirit, red flag. How many kids by how many different men, red flag. So I'm going to go to college and be all this big and bad, red flag. So am I trying to say I'll cater to the hope factor? That's what I'm saying. You acknowledging it is what it is. The more self-esteem you have, the more secure you are with yourself, you don't even worry about it. And yes, with our society and our norms of hooking up, the marriage and everything, you're going to get that pushback. I get clowned all the damn time. Oh man, you don't get no bitches. You don't do this. You don't do that. I'm like, you're right. I don't. But I ain't complaining either.
Got you. That's a powerful point. I agree. I agree with that, and I understand that. I still, just like I said, I feel like if you're worried about that, and if you're viewing finding a wife or a woman as Russian roulette, you'll never be successful. I think that with that mindset, you'll actually attract those women, because I feel like that narrative is just pushing men to fear that so much, to the degree where they're like, yo, fuck it, I'm just not going to do it. And me personally, I don't think that that's masculine, man. And that's my personal opinion.
Okay,
one
more pushback, then I'll let somebody else have it.
Right.
You mentioned Kevin Samuels. I'm a fan of Soto Nation, Tommy Sotomayor. I'm going to borrow his analogy for that one right there.
Yeah.
When you're dealing with the woman, what does she have pointed at you? She has a gun, and that gun is Big Daddy Government, the Synth Army. So would you be correct if I was to point a gun at you? You're more fearful of the gun itself, correct?
Yeah.
So that's where the red pill is basically focused at. Yeah, you're focused on the gun. That's the killing shot. But you have to negotiate with women. And apparently women nowadays have basically lost their mind about how to use this gun. They use it to basically get what they want and be bullies, rather than I'm using this gun to handle a legitimate threat. Here comes a man trying to grape, I'm using the YouTube friendly word, grape me. So I'm using the gun, the Simp Army and Big Daddy government to punish that man for doing harm, rather
Mm.
than, oh, my man told me to make him a sandwich. Now I'm going to use this gun on you there.
I feel you, bro. I understand. I understand, and it makes sense to me if you're dealing with that specific type of woman. But I feel like there's so many women. There's billions of women on this earth. So
You,
Moff, what you think, man? What do you think about pretty much the what I'm trying to present in terms of this? What do you think about it?
Well, I think we have to drill down the fact that most men are painfully terrible when it comes to getting, attracting, and being with women. I mean, most guys don't have options. And the average man is sleeping with less than 10 women his entire life. The average guy is maybe has a couple one night stands, or he's shacking up and he's putting the ring on maybe the third or fourth girlfriend he's ever had, or second or third, or high school sweethearts, or whoever.
Hmm.
So this idea that it's incumbent on men to vet women properly and put them through the ringer and make sure that they, you know, sift through the red flags and look for green flags. Not every man, like the vast majority of men, don't have that luxury. So what really we've got to really do is let these guys know, like, what you should be doing is getting into that top 20% of men. Because we know like 80% of women are going for the top 20% of guys. Talk about the Pareto principle, and there's a lot of other things that go into that. They've done studies with like OkCupid and Tinder and things like that as far as like swiping and matching behavior. But besides that point, even if we say, look, like, I have no problem with marriage itself. My quorum with it lies in the family law system in court. There is no other partnership that one side is encouraged or rewarded for breaking than marriage. So I use this analogy, and I think, Kevin, you and I talked on stereo about this a couple months ago, and this is what I came up with, where it's like, look, it's a gamble, but yeah, maybe you're playing blackjack, which is the best odds in the house. You still might lose, you might win, but you're still gonna have fun playing the game, right? It's like, well, it's not exactly the same. So if I go into a blackjack table, I roll, put $100 on a hand, I lose the hand. All right, that sucks. I lost $100. Now I'm on with the rest of my life, no problem. I had fun playing, but now I'm free from that. The difference is with marriage is now the casino is saying, oh no. Not only do you lose that $100, but we're going to now take $100 out of your bank account every week from now on until the next 20 years, or maybe until you die, or until X, Y, Z, A, B, C. Even if you never step foot in this casino again, even if you never step foot in this state again, you never respond to any of our marketing materials, and then you go hang out with another casino. So it's just the way the partnerships and marriage is designed in today's society, the way they have it caught up with more women being in the workforce than ever before, women graduating college at twice the rate as men, more women making more money in consumer spending is 73% women. But seeing women still as this need to be protected commodity, essentially. We live in a gynocentric social order, or female primary social order. So until government or the powers that be stop seeing this as not a 50-50 partnership, or not a 50-50 split in the event of a divorce or a split, then to me, there's just it's still too much of a risk. Even if you put a girl through the ringer, you do the vetting, you do everything that you can do to protect yourself. To me, it's just unconscionable that a man would still enter into that kind of partnership where not only is the other side incentivized to break it, but they're twice as likely to break it. So 70 to 80% of divorces are initiated by women. And then when it comes to children, they're awarded primary and primary or full custody of children 80 to 90% of the time. So you're basically telling a man to wager half of his earnings and the potential of losing his children or access to his kids for something that has a 50% chance of working. And I just don't see how it's a wise move until laws are changed.
Man, that's powerful, super powerful. And here's my thing, and we talked about this on the app, and here's my point to come back at that. My thing is there's so many things that men can do, right? The biggest thing that we talk about is women being accountable for themselves, right? It ain't even. We don't even have to talk about the red pill community. Like we could just say in general, like most men agree, like women tend to not They tend to not be accountable in situations and relationships that end up going to hell. They usually focus on the man, and they usually focus on what the man did or didn't do, and they usually deflect, or they usually when you bring the points to them like boom boom boom, they usually deflect. We can agree on that, right? Here's my question. Here's my thing that I want to bring to people's mind in the red pill community. Why not do and practice what we're preaching to women, and potentially start to be more accountable in terms of, even though the statistics are the way that they are, why don't we try to be more accountable about ourselves in these situations and pretty much learn ways and strategies to make the odds more in our favor? I think that when men are really, really focusing on these things and these statistics, it takes away power from these men. This is my personal opinion, right? And you're talking to somebody who made the mistake twice, guys. I made the mistake twice, okay? When I was 20, 21, I met the first mother of my child, of my 11-year-old son. I was 21. Did the complete dumbest thing that a man could do. Met a chick, played Russian roulette like a motherfucker, unprotected sex, rawing it out, got her pregnant. Now, let me tell you something. I love my son. I'll kill somebody over my son, right? It sucks that right now I can't really interact with him because of the issues between me and her. But in all truth, I realized that I was moving very stupidly in that situation. I was not ready for a child. You know what I'm saying? So I definitely played Russian roulette. Okay? Then to top it off, we didn't work out. You know, our relationship didn't work out. So we went through a lot of problems. We've been going through bullshit for his entire life. And that was the mistake that I can take on my end, even though she made a mistake too. You know, she could have, we were having issues. She could have went on with her life. I don't want to go too far about my life. I know that's not why y'all here, but I just want to make a solid point. Like, I did that. And then when I was 25, I met my wife, and, you know, we were together for 4 years. And I eventually proposed to her. We weren't ready for marriage when I met her or after the 4 years, but I did it. And I can say again, I made the mistake again. I didn't choose wisely. So this is coming from experience, guys. As I got older and I realized all my issues, all the shit that I dealt with, all the reasons why I kind of was just choosing women and just doing all this risky shit. Once I was able to identify and understand why I was moving the way I moved, I learned and I realized, I could have had a way better situation had I chosen more or made wiser choices in terms of women, right? So fast forward to the future, me and my wife were still together. We made it past all the shit that we had and all the issues that we had, and we've grown so much together. We've improved. We've gotten counseling. I have a better understanding of myself. We have a better understanding of ourselves. And I realized, wow, if I would have dealt with all this shit when I was younger, I probably would have made better choices in my life. The point that I'm trying to make is maybe we should start also thinking about, how can I arm myself? How can I deal with all my shit, be accountable for me, and figure out what it is that I might be dealing with inside? Maybe I'm not fully secure, you know? Maybe I'm moving subconsciously in certain ways because my subconscious mind is hurt and damaged because of maybe traumas that I've experienced in my life. I feel like we should be encouraging men to get to know themselves more and to become more stronger in terms of a knowledge of self, so that you can choose more wisely in terms of a woman and lower the chances of having a woman that will put you in a situation like this. I feel like a lot of men end up getting with these women, right? Finding these women that'll do that'll use the daddy government against them because they are essentially choosing a reflection of themselves. They're dealing with insecurities within and they don't even realize it. So they're attracting the same type of women. The women who probably do move more in the subconscious mind of hypergamy. The woman who will probably try to gravitate to the quote unquote best man so that they can feel secure and safe. The woman that would probably want a man because he's rich and blah, 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 all this shit. Right? I think that, yes, the red pill is powerful, and I feel like what I'm talking about right now is more red pill because I'm trying to bring to people's eyesight that there's more shit that's reality that we're not looking at and we're not paying attention to. There's more reality out here, guys, than what the red pill community is pushing. They're right about things. Don't get me wrong, and I think that I agree with some of it, but I feel like there's so much more reality that we're stepping over and skipping over, which puts us in this box. And then now men are afraid to get married. They're afraid of the government. They're afraid that women are going to take advantage of them and take half their money. Y'all can call it what y'all want, yo. But I think that this is like a state of insecurity. I really do. I think that a lot of these guys are pretty much walking in insecurity, man, and not dealing with that. Because they are like, yo, I don't want to. This is Russian roulette, and it's like in all reality, it's not Russian roulette, yo. In my personal opinion, I don't think it's Russian roulette. We could talk about the statistics, we could talk about all of it, guys, but I just honestly don't believe that it's Russian roulette. I believe that you're getting a gun, and you can make the choice to educate yourself on how to utilize that gun. You can learn more about the gun. Shit, you got the gun in your hands. You could do whatever you want to do with the gun. My thing is why don't we start to open up more reality about ourselves and about each other, guys, and in this whole red pill thing, so that we can have a greater understanding of the possibilities as men, gaining all this new real information, just like Neo. Just like when Neo got the red pill, he see Morpheus jumping over fucking buildings and shit. He like, oh shit, I can't do that. That's my personal opinion, guys. What do you think, Brian? I know I kind of ran it for a second, y'all, but what you think, Brian? What's your view on that?
My thing is like, if you make sure to set yourself up with the best options, you know what I'm saying? And that comes to your insecurities and her insecurities as well. And like, if you do decide to go that route, that's why I'm saying you got to make sure you deal with those insecurities within yourself and her to make sure you're setting yourself up with the best option. It's hard for me to say right now because I'm so young still, but like, I mean, I do believe in it. It's just hard to say exactly right now on how I feel about it. I know that if I were to choose the right female and I knew deep down I had the right intentions and she had the right intentions, my heart was pure, her heart was pure, we were aligned right, I might do it. You know what I'm saying? I might take the risk because really, what is life without a risk? You know, everybody's got to take a risk. No matter what the circumstance or securities are. But you know what I mean? Like, I do see where you guys are coming from because I've seen a lot of females nowadays that have been acting up. Like, they'll try to play like the alpha role, or, you know, what Tony was saying, because I have seen it and I've seen it a lot, and they try to act like they're independent, they're hard, they don't need nobody, they're this and that and blah, blah, blah. I've heard that.
They still got that,
like I said, yeah. So I've seen both sides. I've seen both sides of it. That's why, like, it's not exactly Russian roulette. Like, it's kind of like a synonym for it. About, like, I don't know exactly how I would put it, but that's just how I feel about it. I mean, I know that if my intentions and her intentions were pure and aligned for whatever reason, and I felt it truly in my heart that it was right, I probably would do it.
Mm-hmm.
But that's just me.
Gotcha.
And that's just how I feel.
Hey, I think that's powerful, man, as well. And, you know, I guess that's the thing for me. Like, all right, I'm going to ask this quick question, and I'm going to let y'all do your thing about it. And I think that this will kind of bring more clarity. Like Moff, when you came on and you said what you thought about Red Pill, I like the things that you were specifically pointing out, because to me, that goes closer in the direction of Red Pill, like the whole concept. Like, having an understanding of how men truly authentically are, how women truly authentically are, not the speculations, not the arguments or the points that each side wants to make about each other. But I'm talking about the real shit. Like, in all actuality, if we want to be honest, men and women aren't the same. We know that, but we do have similarities, and we can't look over that shit either. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think that's the reality. I personally am getting a bit annoyed and aggravated by this fucking women versus men shit. because I feel like all it's doing is creating more division between women and men, and it's stopping us from being able to build legacies as kings. For one, I think it's getting in the way of us building these legacies. If men and women are looking at each other like, oh shit, I don't know if I could be with them, I don't know if I could trust them. And I understand that people aren't saying like, yo, men and women shouldn't come together or shouldn't have kids. So I understand that. I'm not gonna say that. I don't think that that's what the red pill community is saying. But I'm gonna be honest, a lot of men are even saying that too. They like, yo, I ain't having no kids with no women, or they like, nah, I'm not putting myself in that position. And I just think that that's a bit. I think it's just a bit rough. You know what I'm saying? So, in all actuality, man, with this whole red pill thing, like I said, I do agree. But I'm gonna ask y'all this question real quick. I'm gonna start with you, Moff. When it comes to red pill, other than the concept of women, right, and their position, us understanding them, because I could tell that's the main focus for real with the red pill community, in my own personal opinion. What else is that mindset or way of thinking pointing out? Other than that, other than women, like what about us men? Like what is the red pill community focusing on in terms of us men?
Well, I think it goes back to the middle point of origin. It goes back to guys putting themselves first. I mean, the whole concept of masculinity has been so bastardized lately that, I mean, nobody even knows what it means anymore. Or all masculinity is toxic masculinity, or
Very true.
and so it goes back to us living in a. It's almost. I find it almost impossible to separate issues without it always coming back to intersexual dynamics, because the world we live in is still, it's not dominated by men, it's dominated by women. We live in a gynocentric, female-first social order where anything that is good for women is good, anything that is good for men is inherently bad. So when we talk about men versus women, when I hear the vast majority of these spats and the back and forth, I think in any conversations that I have, it goes back to be a real man and wife her up. Don't be a player. Don't be this. You need to do the right thing. A real man steps up, or whatever the hell it is. Because our innate natural mating strategies they don't work together. They're actually adversarial. So for guys, what do we naturally want to do? We want to spread our seed far and wide. It's unlimited access to unlimited sexuality in a perfect world for us. That's just it's innate. That's inherent. That's our innate, hardwiring in our evolutionary framework. For women, it's best possible option to settle down with. So for either one of those mating strategies to succeed, one has to sacrifice. So either the guy has to forgo any other possible options and not date multiple women and not go out and try to spread seed. He can settle down with one chick, or she has to decide that she's going to forgo trying to get this one guy and share him with other women. So that's, I think, the majority of the infighting we hear, as it's, if masculinity is toxic, or guys that are players are toxic, or guys that don't want to get married are not real men. And it's all because it's trying to shame men and guilt men into falling in line with this female primary social order. And that's kind of what it boils down to. It's all about, well, if you're doing what's good for the woman, then you're in the clear. But if you're not, and you're doing what you want as a man, then you're reckless, or you're a gigolo or a player. I don't even know if he uses the term gigolo anymore. Probably not. But you're just a guy that's got reckless abandon, and you're not a real man and anything like that. So it's the shaming language, and it's this idea that if we're not constantly courting to or being subservient to women in our society, we are doing something wrong. So I just don't see how we can even sort of separate the two, because the world we live in is dominated by the way that the sexes and genders interact with one another.
And that makes a lot of sense, especially when you say trying to separate the two. And you're pretty much saying separate what men and women, right? Like,
well, by saying like the red pill is, can we just talk about red pill not having to do with women and intersexual dynamics? But it always is going to play a part, right? Even in personal finances, even in entrepreneurship and business, right? The decisions that you make, the people that you hire, the way you run your books, all of that kind of stuff. It all comes into play because our intersexual dynamics is baked into our society today. So I see it's unavoidable. It's across the entire scope. It always comes back to men and women, I think.
And it makes sense. I think that was designed that way. I think that was actually a ploy of the media years ago, in my own personal opinion. I honestly think that what we are living in today in modern day society has been created, and it was all a part of the agenda. And this shit came full force, and I think we're now living in the complete outcome of that, right? As far as let's see, and hold on, we got a comment real quick, so I'm gonna pull it on because I see Moff, I see you interacting with him, man. And salute to everybody that's watching right now, man. Throw a like on this video if you're enjoying what we're talking about. But I'm gonna go ahead because this looks like a longer comment from Sean L. I'm gonna throw him up here. All right, Sean L. He said, "What's up, Moff?" Okay, he's saluting Moff. Regarding RP, red pilling men, one point I appreciate is not pedestalizing women. And if we treat her like a celebrity, idealizing, for example, she'll treat you like a fan. Yo, I agree with that 100%, 1,000%. And I think that comes from the individual man. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think that comes from the man, and that's probably the biggest part that I really agree with the red pill community, especially when they're talking to men and trying to tell men, hey, don't do this shit, yo. Like stop idealizing women, stop pedestalizing women, because it puts you in a position for failure when it comes to women. And I truly agree with that. I honestly feel like that's the shit that we really should be teaching men, like pushing to men, all the things that they should stop doing that's causing them to fall in the hands of a woman, to be taken advantage of by a woman. Like, I agree with all that shit.
Yeah.
But I feel like that should be our main focus with this shit. And I feel like we should be finding more things that we should be focusing on concerning the men. Because at the end of the day, that's who it's for, right? The red pill is for the men, right? We're pretty much promoting that, saying, yo, men, take the fucking red pill, because what you thinking is real in reality, man, it ain't. Okay? You're falling in line with this concept that you're supposed to worship the ground that the woman walks on, and happy wife, happy life, all this bullshit. That's bullshit. I hate that fucking statement. Yo, I'll be ready to fight somebody over that statement, because I'm like, happy wife, happy life. Are you fucking crazy? We're the men. We're the rock and the foundation of this shit. What the fuck you mean happy wife, happy life? If we ain't happy, this whole shit getting shut down. You know what I'm saying? So, I totally agree with that. And salute to Sean, man. That was a powerful point. That was actually a good turning point of what we're talking about. I think that we should be telling men and teaching men that, yo, stop worshiping women, because listen, they are not God. I don't know what you believe in. If you don't believe in anything, it's fine, but they're not God. We're all creations. And if anything, that's more biblical, so I don't want to get too into the religion, but we got the most responsibility on this earth, if we want to get technical, and it even shows. We want to think about statistics. If we want to think about, men dominate in the information and technology part of the world and how it functions. Men dominate in manufacturing, okay? Statistically, men dominate in all the pretty much the foundational areas of civilization on this earth, right? So with that being said, it's bullshit. This world wouldn't even be able to function if men didn't exist. Women wouldn't know what the fuck to do, period. What's up, Tony?
All right. About y'all seen the movie The 40-Year-Old Virgin?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Remember when they found out that old boy was a virgin? His little friends were basically told him, this is where I think that phrase kind of got a lot of attention. He's putting pussy on a pedestal. That's why he's not banging women. However, now let's look at this from an objective point of view, without the Hollywood lens. His character was content. He had his job. He had his little hobby. He was chilling. Didn't worry about women. The ones who were worried about women were the friend who kept cheating on his wife, the other friend who couldn't get over the breakup of his girlfriend, and the other character who was just indiscriminate with his dick and banging anything that moved. Who were the ones actually putting pussy on a pedestal?
Mm.
And then Hollywood, being Hollywood, had to freaking, doll it up at the end. Of course, he had to bang a single grandmother. And, oh, yeah, now he's happy. They had to Hollywood it up at the end just to keep men, in that hopeful mindset. So me, I promote that rough part, that part where you were saying, do we go down this route? I say yes. Let this motherfucker burn,
Mm,
because of, like Moff said, there is no reason for us to come to the table if the deck is stacked against us. Why would you knowingly take your chance? Oh yeah, you may win, but the odds are stacked against you. Why would you want to play? So I believe men need to, yes, stop putting pussy on a pedestal, because we live in these modern times, and you win the most by not playing. You focus on your job, developing your skill. You become that architect, that engineer, whatnot, building stuff, being a responsible adult to society, but
mm,
without female validation.
mm.
Don't worry about what they think, because you don't need to. You don't need to. You should not feel guilty at all by letting a woman who claims to be an adult, claims to be independent, claims don't need no man, to let her call her bluff. Like, all right, cool, I'm done. I don't need to mess with you anymore. Bye. Take your dick and go home.
Facts. I
And
totally agree with that.
And last little note on that. Think about this recent abortion fiasco. The women, the blue team feminazis, yada yada, they're out here trying to promote the idea. Well, we're not going to have sex with men anymore. That solves the issue of what the other side's complaining about, dumbass. And okay, but let's go ahead and go further down that rabbit hole. If men withhold their seed, what power and what manipulation does a female in today's modern society actually have? She would have to actually prove to be independent and don't need no man. So that's what I'm pushing. Monk mode all day. Because if you got the self-esteem, you don't need a woman. So I heard you were saying that it's a stab at your insecurity. You're worried about that gun. There's no one who's going to like question the fact of a gun. You don't need to prove yourself against a gun. You know what it can do. So rather than
Mm.
that, get out of the way. Leave the gun alone, and you just focus on your own track.
That's powerful, man. And you hit a lot of shit too in that amount of time, in which
Yeah.
makes it makes a lot of sense. Yeah, I get it, man. I get that, but it's always going to be something that I'm going to always kind of challenge, though, to a certain degree, because it's like I get it, I get it. I'm not saying I don't get it, but I think that it still puts us in a situation where we feel like I feel like it kind of slightly takes the power away from a man. And I feel like that's kind of a part of the agenda. If we want to get technical, this shit that we're talking about, guys, it was created, okay? It was created. This episode really isn't about how it was created, but I'm going to just say it was created, right? Men against women.
It's a war out
And
there.
yeah, it's a war, but it's a war to have more control of the people. It's a war to have more control of us, guys. That's my personal belief.
I
Okay? I
believe,
think that the
I believe
powers
that.
that be, the powers that be want to have more control of us, and if they have, how can you conquer? Let's just be honest for a second. How can you conquer any area or any situation? We know that you got to separate, right? We know that you have to separate, and you have to divide.
Mhm.
You have to fuck up any type of natural security or system to be able to conquer some shit. Think of anything. Go back in history. Think about any situation. If you want to conquer any type of organization or system, you have to go in and you have to separate it, and you have to cause confusion in that area, right? And I think that there's just nothing but more confusion and more things for men and women to fight about and bicker about. But if we were able to come together, men and women, then we could potentially have what we want in life. I think that men and women both have a super duper big misinterpretation of each other and a big misunderstanding, and that's why we're in the situation right now. That's my
I
personal opinion.
I agree, because I'm not. Okay. I'm trying to say this stuff without blaming women, but their nature is being used against them in the control factor, because Big Daddy government, the powers that be, promised them just these little perks to claim independence. They jumped to the power, so that distracted them from the men. And
Mm,
men, us being men, and most of the time still thinking with our little head more often than our big head, especially we have no masculine men in the homes anymore to try to say, have these conversations right here with the young bucks. They just go chase the women. Look at Planet Fitness. It's designed for women.
Yeah.
The no
Yeah, it
longer
is.
intimidation factor. It's designed for women. But where they're going to get their money from? The men that follow the women. So that's what's actually being played from us. So you are right. It is a manipulation tactic. They led the women to assume a different role, and men just being men. Well, I gotta chase the woman. Last note: Ben Shapiro. He had one of his little TED talk where he talked at a college campus, where he tried to encourage women. Long story short, to basically stop fucking deadbeats and thugs, and try and basically hook up with men who are established. Now, if women actually do that, okay, I'm not going to share my vitamin P with you. You're unestablished. Watch men try to establish themselves more, and that's true, and I believe that, unfortunately. But I believe that men should already want to be an established head leader type without worrying about female validation. Because if you do that, you're already a leader. You're leading the charge. You want your female to be your subordinate. So if we want to take gender roles just to make the hippies feel good, be a leader and subordinate. Whoever is the top moneymaker who's holding down the household, that's the leader. Follow their role, and the other person is subordinate. You make the household comfortable. Bring that motherfucker a sandwich, and you make it comfortable so he can keep providing that household. I would say if men assume that role and women assume that role without the bickering or the dreaded C word, compromise, things will assume back in order. Stop being distracted by, wait, do the big daddy government promising you all this other bullshit. You focus on your roles because big daddy government can't do anything unless you agree.
Yeah.
Facts. What you? I could tell you got something to say, Moff. I can see.
Well, I mean, we still have the inherent drive as men to want to get female validation and get sex, basically. I mean, that's every man. I mean, think of it, any major invention or anything that's ever been done and any great work that's ever been created. I mean, without female motivation or without the motivation of getting sex and status and recognition and love, nothing would have ever been done. I mean, you guys don't work these crazy ass jobs that are super dangerous, that are, it's just without that drive or need for love and sex and attention from women and validational sex, not the transactional stuff that's like, I took out the garbage, like, now where's my blowjob? It's, legit getting that genuine burning desire from women. And I want to go back real quick too. And I prescribe monk mode in certain situations. I don't look at it or necessarily agree with it as a general rule that most men should live by, because there's a lot of guys out there that say, look, don't date in your 20s. Like if I was talking to Brian, like I wouldn't give you advice that was like, hey man, you need to be nothing but working 25/7, 25/8 for the next 5 years. And then don't even start to look at starting to date women or even interact with women until you're 30. I would say you probably could give it a couple of years of building your business or whatever you're trying to do. And maybe don't get into a settled down monogamous thing or a serious relationship until you start to hit that 30, 31, 32 as your value as a man becomes higher. Because as we know, women love men more for what they can provide, less than in your 20s, unless you're sort of in the top 5 or even top 10%. You don't have a lot going on. I mean, there's a small percentage of guys that are in their 20s that are really crushing it. But that being said, I want to stay with this kind of casino analogy too, because it's all the red pill really is trying to do is it's how do I stack the odds in my favor? I may never and I will never be able to beat the house 100% of the time, but then it's all about mitigating risk. And the difference is, if I'm going to the casino, if I'm waiting till I'm a billionaire to go to the casino, aka if I'm stacking cash and this and that before I talk to women and learn game and learn how they operate and learn how they work and know how I can hit their attraction triggers and all of that. If I don't have a basic strategy before going to the casino table, like I'm still going to lose a lot of money. I'm still going to lose a lot of cash. I'm still going to waste a lot of time until I figure out the right way to win. And then who knows if I'm down to my last dollar by that point. Now, the difference there too is the difference between like a relationship or a casual relationship in a marriage is what is the penalty of losing? You're still playing the game and you're still gambling, but what's the risk, right? So I think that's what the biggest difference is. There's always going to be a risk, but what do you have? What are you risking losing, right? If it's marriage, is it half your assets and access to your children? If it's a live-in chick, it's like, all right, we got to split some stuff, and then I got to get her off the leash. If it's just a casual girl you've been seeing for a little while, it's like, all right, well, just got to delete her number out of my phone, right? You're still risking that stuff, but it's what do you stand to lose? But at the same time, I think it's important for men to not only be focusing on their mission, their purpose, building what they need to build, but also you need to learn game. You need to understand women. You need to be learning intersexual dynamics. So that way, you're going to have a good time and you're going to have fun. And if all you do is work all the time, you don't blow off some steam, you're going to go nuts. And two, there's no reason why you can't spend ample time on both in certain waves. There'll be times where I'm like, look, man, I'm on one right now. I've been seeing 2 or 3 girls a week, but now my business is suffering a little bit and I'm not putting as much time in at the gym, or I'm missing workouts because I'm not getting as much sleep. All right, cool. I'm going to take it down to maybe just one chick. We're going to hang out once or twice a week. And now I can get the other areas of my life back to where they were. Now maybe I got some more free time and I can add some things in. So I think with everything, there's no just pedal to the metal one way or the other. There's always nuance that comes into play. But that's why I'm more so like, if some guy came to me and was like, hey man, like I've never had a girlfriend, I can't get laid, I got $0 in my bank account, I'm in my mom's basement flipping burgers at McDonald's. I'm like, yeah man, you probably should go monk mode. Like you probably have no business running around trying to get with women just because you got nothing to offer, nothing to bring to the table for them. So yeah, I mean, if you've got some modicum of success or you're focused on working your way up, then all right. I just don't think there's any reason why you can't kind of focus on both. And I think we lost Kevin. I don't know if his connection dropped out, but it looks like it's just the 3 of us.
Yeah, it's just the 3 of us.
Okay. Well, quick shout out to everybody in the chat. These are some of my guys, Sean, Jared. I don't know if you guys, if you're on StreamYard, if you're on the YouTube tab. Couple of guys. So I'm in a men's community. So the way I got started with Red Pill is a guy now that's become sort of a friend and a mentor, Richard Cooper. His YouTube channel is Entrepreneurs in Cars here on YouTube, and he's got a website. He wrote a book called The Unplugged Alpha, and it's a couple hundred guys, but really, some 50 or maybe to 100 more dedicated guys that we talk, we get together. We're getting ready to do a big meetup in Miami come a couple of weeks from now. So talking about the importance of men's spaces and that kind of thing, but getting together and talking stuff like this. So we do a similar panel every first Monday on his channel. So myself and a couple of guys here in the chat talking about this kind of stuff. But that's kind of where I came to my Red Pill awakening. I think what's really interesting is it's almost always a result of some sort of trauma. And like 9 times out of 10, it's a breakup or divorce or something happening to a close friend or family member. And so what guys tend to do is they go, look, like this is the 2nd or 3rd time I've been dumped or gotten hit by a train. And I never know what happens. Like all of a sudden the chick just wants to break up with me. So they start going to look for answers, and they say, hey, look, like, okay, I found the rational male, or I figured out about hypergamy, and now I'm starting to see this stuff in everyday life, and I'm recognizing the stuff that I was taught by the Disney machine and the rom-coms that teaches you how to get women don't work in real life. And it's actually quite the opposite. So how do we flip that script? And that's all the Red Pill really is.
Brian, what do you got to say?
No, I like it all a lot. A lot of what you just said. That shit hit home for me, especially because I feel like there is a balance between the red pill not going completely the blue pill, but I feel like having a balance of what I'm saying, what works for you and what doesn't, because obviously no one's not gonna not get pussy or not want pussy or whatever the case is, or not want female, not want what I'm saying, like a certain thing. There is a balance there. So, I agree with that 100%. Like there's a balance, and you got to find that balance within yourself. And, maybe not going complete monk mode, but I do like the monk mode analogy because it helps me find out like what female works for me, what female I think am I going to take a risk with or a chance with, you know what I mean? Like, is she worth taking a chance? Is she worth taking the risk? Because my values are aligned and I got security and foundation. So, that's basically all I have for it. I I agree with the red pill a lot, and I do agree with a lot of what you were saying, Mo, with balance and stuff like that.
Well, my 2 cents about the balance factor, I do not cater to the balance factor. I understand that men, yes, we want women. You're a responsible man, you want to get banged. You're an irresponsible man, you want to get banged. I understand that that's a factor, but I also see the picture as in, yes, the deck is stacked. So if you do have self esteem, and once you come to that point, yeah, this is the game, why play when you can win by yourself? My most productive years of my life, these past 4 or 5 years, were just because I 100% stopped putting women in my mind. I already accepted the fact that basically I was a ugly man with no game. I get it. Females don't want me. But when I accepted that, even just before completely red pill, when I accepted that, just moved on, do my own thing, I still get outside pressure from men and women that you still got to do it. I think it's because a lot of women just don't want to see another person leave the simp plantation, and because men want misery loves company. Because I see the men who want to talk
Yeah,
about all their joys of being
misery.
married, but they yet misery loves company. I feel that when it comes to a lot of these other men who still encourage me to play the game, you want me to keep going to
Yeah, that
the
victim
casino, the
mindset.
real estate, and it's like no, I just say no, and I think that's just innately in me with that, with just my self-esteem. And I believe self-esteem is something that can't be taught. You either have it or you don't. You can do little things to try to improve it, like going to the gym, joining the service, or whatever inherently masculine grouping. But if you don't have it yourself, you're always going to go back to what women think. I don't give a fuck about what women think. And guess what? I have every right to say that, because going back on women, you're supposed to be strong, independent, don't need no man. You talk that narrative and you toe that line, so you should leave me the fuck alone. Correct? Don't get mad if I'm treating you like a normal civilian. Hello, Sherry, how you doing? Oh, I'm good, just chilling. All right, and I'm going about my business. Don't worry about me not making a move on you. Don't worry about me not holding the door open for you because you're independent. And if women don't understand that, I'm not going to waste my time trying to help them understand. I'm a grown man. I need to worry about myself. So that's why I do promote monk mode at least to the age of 30 to consider a serious relationship. Learn yourself more and try to what's the word? Detox yourself from the feminine influence, the single mother home. You're around your cousins, mama, and them, all them. Your plethora of teachers. The fact that your classmates are all female. If they cry, everybody's got to stop to make her feel better. You got to learn how to detox yourself from that line of thinking. And if you're going to be the traditional man, you deserve the traditional benefits. So it's not about telling a woman what to do. It's just, does she know her role? If you bring home the bacon, she should cook it. It really is that kind of cut and dry. And there's no reason for you to stress about it one way or the other, because they have equal rights. Don't fall for the guilt trip. Don't be dangled by the carrot of vitamin P. You stay on building yourself. And if a woman doesn't want to be your subordinate, you will be fine. There's nobody gets hurt. But the idea that vitamin P is scarce or that you're going to lose your opportunity, that's a loser thing. On that note, last thing that I'll let Kevin back have it. Freaking, there are people in the red pill community who are genuine, the nerds who are just mad that they can't get women. So they'll adopt the red pill, they'll talk our talking points and yada yada, but at the end of the day, they still want a woman. And that's where I would basically try to separate them from the group. No, you are still trying to get a woman and you're putting pussy on a pedestal. Don't talk our talking points unless you can be either A, monk mode, or B, the strong traditional man who does not settle for less.
Man, that was a powerful point. And guys, I know I stepped off for a second. I was having some technical issues, but I appreciate y'all for keeping the ball rolling. It was powerful. And that's from what I did here, guys. It sounded like y'all were pushing on some more good points in the red pill, in which, man, I personally think they're all valid. You know what I'm saying? Like I totally respect that aspect. And as far as men and us as men, we do need to, for one, understand what the fuck it means to be a man. Like let's cut the shit. Let's drop all that. I'm all for that, and that's what this podcast is about. Because I didn't know. a lot of men, whoever's securing himself enough, or at least whoever is willing to be vulnerable in that sense, whatever man is willing to be vulnerable, a lot of men can admit that we've all been at that stage where we did not know if we were coming or going as men, where we did not know anything about women, where we've been hurt by women, or been in these different situations, and we can all admit that and say, hey, I've been in this position. I think that is the best part of the red pill view in mind thinking. It is encouraging men to know more about themselves and to empower themselves with the right mindset and right thinking when it comes to women, when it comes to themselves. But shit, we need to take it a step further when it comes to the whole fucking world. I think that that's what a lot of men need to be hearing right now. A lot of men need to hear the truth. Don't allow a woman to take advantage of you with her vagina and her pussy. Yeah, it's amazing. It's awesome. We all love it. You know what I'm saying? But don't be taken advantage by that. And don't allow a woman to use her pussy to manipulate you. Don't ever pay for pussy. That shit is not masculine. Do not buy pussy. And you hear a lot of people say, oh, man, in our actuality, you really buying pussy anyway. You can't get around it. It's like, what the fuck is you talking about? You're not buying the pussy. If you have a wife, if you have a woman, if you're in a relationship with someone, you guys have a level of understanding, hopefully. And if you're providing and you're doing your thing as a man, that's just you being a man. You're not paying for the pussy. You know what I'm saying? You're providing as a man. You're being a king. You have resources. You're utilizing your resources, and whoever you're with can, benefit from those resources. My point is I totally agree with that. And I think that's the most valid part of the red pill community. Encouraging men to accept that. Like, yo, I'm a man. I do not need to be taken advantage by women. I don't have to fear women. That's my biggest thing. Stop fearing women. Stop fearing what a woman will do to you. Arm yourself as a man and secure yourself. Gain security. Get all the knowledge and the wisdom that you need to solidify yourself as a man. Okay? Then you won't have to worry that much about a woman. I'm speaking this from my own experience. And if y'all got any points, man, feel good to chime in. But like, in my own experience, I've been there and I know what it feels like to feel insecure, to be taken advantage by women, to be taken advantage by the pussy. You know what I'm saying? Kind of this like, what is it, cat and mouse shit? You know what I'm saying? You go to get the pussy and they're like, oh no, I'm tired. Oh no, I don't want to do it. Oh no. And you keep going through this rejection and you don't even know she's just doing that just to have some type of control in the situation. She's putting quote unquote value on her vagina to utilize it for her security. Don't allow yourself to be manipulated by the pussy. If anything, you gonna manipulate that pussy. Now I'm just playing. But you want to have a grasp of yourself as a man, because in all actuality, women love dick. All right, let's not get this mistaken. You know what I'm saying? In all actuality, women love that. So don't allow yourself to be manipulated in that. And don't ever allow a woman to use that to get whatever she wants out of you, to fuck with your head or whatever the case, man. Be celibate if you got to. That's one part where I understand the monk mode. If you are being manipulated by a woman, show her that you don't need her pussy. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Withdraw. Yeah. Give her a solid 3-4 months and see how the fuck she start acting. Then we'll start to realize that we're real similar. Men and women are very similar in a sense, because she's going to start showing that she really need and wants some. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? We have to balance out the I guess the game, the play, the playing field. Yeah. That's what I think needs to be done. We need to start balancing it out. We don't need to be men and we don't need to take over the whole field. That's fucked up. I don't agree with that. But I do think that we do need to balance out the playing field so that there's a clear understanding. This is a collective effort here. You know what I'm saying? You ain't dominating nothing. And, I'm not going to, though I'm a man and I'm supposed to, be dominant, of course, and have dominion as a king, I'm going to still allow, I'm going to allow the woman to be her and to express her part and be the role in the situation. So, that's my solid point on it. But guys, I really think that all of that part of the red pill community and what they're pushing is very valid. Young men need to start learning who they are. We have to accept who we are as men. We have to accept the power that we have as men. We have to accept, who we are. then we won't be taken advantage of anymore by any women. We won't have to worry about that. And I think that's where we gain the security. It's by accepting the truth and walking in those truths. So, man, this has been a pretty good episode here, man. Any of y'all want to touch on anything or really, go a little more in depth on anything specifically before we wrap up this episode?
Well, I'll talk real quick about the pedestal, man. Like, it comes from scarcity. That's the biggest thing. Like, when guys start caring too much about what girls think or getting laid and this kind of stuff, it's because they don't have it. And they don't have options with women. And like that's the thing that guys should be striving to get, is to be in a point where, if you're starving, all you can think about is food. If you can't breathe, all you can think about is getting that next breath of oxygen. It's your sole focus. It's the only thing that you can focus your mind on. But if you got a fridge full of food, like you'll eat when you're hungry, and then you're off to doing other stuff, right? So, when women and attention from women as pussy is scarce, then that's all you're going to focus on. So if you can get to a point, and too many guys parrot this scarcity mentality, abundance mentality, but you have to actually, or this like I don't care thing. Too many guys are like, oh, you want to get with women, act like you don't care. It's like, no, you have to get to the point where you really don't care, where you can say whatever you want, and if she's not with your program and if she's not down with what you're bringing to the table, then like there's the door, because either way you're going to be fine, right? I think that's one of the things Tony was bringing up, is like, look, whether you're here or whether you're not, it doesn't matter to me either way. I'm gonna be cool. Like, yeah, I'm down. I'd like for you to be here because like you're cool, like hanging out, like we have a good time. But if you're not with the program, like this isn't the way it's gonna be. And too many guys are afraid of setting healthy boundaries and things that they will not tolerate and things that are gonna be deal breakers for them, because they're so afraid of losing that girl because they're thinking, she's the only one that I can get, or I don't want to go out there and be single and try to hunt for my food. I have a fridge full of food now. When in reality, they're getting sex once a month and maybe once on their birthday, right? So it's getting to a point where you've developed the skills that you can actually have women that come into your life when you're focused on other stuff. And if you want to keep them around, keep them around. If you don't, then don't. But having true abundance with women and getting to a point where you can have multiple women in your life fixes all of this scarcity. I need this, I need to be chasing this, I need sex, all that kind of stuff. It's focusing on one woman, and the idea that if she were to leave, then you're going to be a born again virgin for the rest of your life. So getting to a point where you achieve true abundance should be every man's priority.
Man, facts. Well said, man. And I totally agree with that. Like, first of all, man, we can all agree on this shit. The real men know that pussy, it's impossible for pussy to be scarce. There's too much pussy on this planet, bro. Like any men,
women are abundant, high value men are scarce.
Exactly. And that shows the level of importance in this situation. Like just like what Moff was saying earlier about, I think he said 80% of the women chase 20% of the men, right? That there's an indication, and there's a clear reason for that. That's because those groups of men are the most valuable in the situation. And women are making it clear that that's who they want and that's what they want. So it shows that men have a high importance in this situation here. It's not the other way around. Pussy is pussy at the end of the day. And it's not scarce. Pussy, and I'll say this too, any man can get pussy. Even if you an ugly dude, or I know Tony be saying, I'm fat and ugly, this, that, and the third, you know how many women will throw pussy at you simply because women, that is in their nature. It is in their nature to receive dick. That's why their body is created to receive, meaning they need to receive that. They need to receive validation. They need to receive a man entering into their soul and into their heart, because they are built to be open. When I look at the sexual, sometimes I get sexual. I be on my Sigmund Freud shit. You know what I'm saying? And like, I really go deep sometimes with our genitals, man. And it's a deep concept. It's like women, their vaginas, they open, right? When we have sex, what happens? Their legs open, right? They are receiving. And I think that there's a powerful reason for that. And it really goes to show that women are meant to receive.
That's why they use the term empower. Give me power. Give me. There's a reason your vagina is shaped like a wallet. You want me to make deposits.
Bingo. You know what I'm saying? I love when Tony be doing the punchlines, man. But bingo. They are literally a gaping open hole wanting to receive. So why are we looking for them to validate us? We're not built for that. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's okay, but I'm saying we shouldn't be depending on that validation in terms of our security as men and our sense of self. That's the point I want to make.
Yes.
Validation is very powerful, and a man needs that, especially if you got a queen, man. My wife know that.
Yeah.
And she's starting to embrace her power, that she understands if she does stroke my ego, I'll end up performing even better in certain instances. And that gives us more security. That gives her more security. So when women start to value these things, they benefit, we all benefit. You know? But in all actuality, you know, yeah, women are meant to receive. That's how they were built. And, you know, we got to give it. So, man, this shit is powerful. Brian, man, would anybody else, you know, y'all want to dig a little deeper? Because, I mean, I can go all day, but I know, you know, everybody got things they got to do. But anybody else want to,
I think we got a question in the chat.
We do? Okay. Yeah, I should have been monitoring that. All right. So let's see here. Oh, we got a lot of comments here. Okay. Let's see. You know what? I'm gonna ride back up, and this will actually give us more content matter and things to expound on. Let's see. Which one were you talking about, Moff?
Just the very last one. I know these guys are just kind of, a lot of these guys are guys that I know. They're kind of just going back and forth, but it sounds like the very last one, something about time frame or
okay,
basing what a man should do or should be.
Okay, so the question, is Dro Uggs. Yo, salute to Dro Uggs and salute to every man that's in here, man, watching this powerful content, man. I appreciate y'all. Dro Uggs, he said, what time frame of era are we basing what a man is or should be for whatever ethnicity? That's a pretty fucking in-depth question right there. Wow. All right, so let's see. All right, Moff, so you want to answer that?
I'm not quite sure what they're getting at. Maybe they can clarify, or hey, shout out to John. I told a lot of my guys and my friends that are you know, stopping by and saying what's up in the chat. So, I mean, look, like, time frame rarely matters. I mean, look, like, I think the funniest thing that I run into maybe on a daily basis when I talk about this kind of stuff, when I say men are X and women are Y, and men are like this and women are like that. Mm-hmm. Everybody wants to play things are changing now card. Everybody wants to say, well, feminism this. And it's like, okay, if you seriously think that I'll give you 120 years, even, or 100 years since women were given the right to vote. Like, even if I grant you 100 years, that's not even close to scratching the surface to being enough to override tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of years of evolutionary hardwiring and sort of this makeup of our brains. So, you know, over time, like, what we should be doing and what we are as men remains relatively unchanged. What's happening now is we are being told as men to fight and crush and squash our innate masculinity and what makes us unique as men. And that's what the real problem is. All feminism is doing today is cranking out men that are bad versions of women and women that are bad versions of men. And people are more unhappy than before. And it's clearly not working, right? I mean, you can see how the nuclear family has been absolutely decimated. People are getting married later and later in life, or not at all, at much higher rates. The birth rate is in a free fall. By 2030, 45% of all working age women between the ages of 26 and 44 will be single. So you guys want to invest in BarkBox or whatever they got for cats. But it just goes to show that whatever's being pushed today, it's not working, right? And so the most unhappy demographic of people right now are single women in their 40s that are waking up saying, well, I was told I should go to school and get a PhD, go be a doctor, get a great job, make $150K a year. And then by the time I've done all of that, there's just going to be an army of high-value dudes lined out my door for me to choose from. And they're wondering why their finger doesn't have a ring on it. So, I mean, it's incumbent on us as men to push back on these. And it's tough because of the society we live in, the cancel culture, and every day there's a reason I don't use my real name for the most part on this. There's a reason that people that know me in my personal life generally don't know my thoughts and views on a lot of this stuff. There's a reason why I don't talk about red pill stuff with family members and most friends, and especially girls that I'm seeing. It's because it's a very high risk sort of maneuver and the things that I think about and talk about. But it is incumbent on us as men to push back on this, because the results they speak for themselves. Things are going wrong. And I think it's a direct result of this paradigm shift where we're not allowing, or we're not encouraging men to be men anymore. We're encouraging women to be men. And the polarities are just completely messed up.
Man, I totally agree with that. And with polarity being fucked up, it literally does what I was saying earlier, guys. It fucks up the organization and the actual power that we have as human beings, not just men, but people. I think that was a part of the agenda to begin with. I think that was the agenda, to have more control of the masses, right? And that's my personal opinion.
Yeah.
Now, this question is actually a deep question, because I'm reading it and I'm really thinking, I'm like, okay, I think I see what they're kind of trying to say. Like, they're asking, like, what time frame are we referring to, an era, in terms of what a man is, or should be, in terms of ethnicity. So I think they're trying to point out the differences in ethnicity concerning, what a man is, or who a man should be. And like Moff, like you were saying earlier, man, I agree that, it's universal. I think that a man should be a man. At the end of the day, a man should be masculine, no matter what ethnicity you are. But I will say this: the dynamics are totally different in terms of ethnicity. And I'll expound real quick. And I'm gonna try my best not to take too long, but I do want to touch this because it should be touched on. Ethnicity does play a major factor. And I'm gonna just keep it 100. It's black people, and then it's everybody else, right? And I'm not saying it's on a racial shit, but I'm just being honest. We have to understand and accept that slavery, had a major effect on the dynamics of the black man and black woman in terms of that dynamic. We have to also understand. I don't know if you guys have read the Willie Lynch letter, right? How to make a slave. I don't know if you guys have ever read that, right? But pretty much, when you guys get a chance, it's a great read. And you'll have a better understanding concerning slavery and concerning black men and black women, and why we're viewed as so fucked up, or why we deal with a lot of shit, and why our statistics are so fucking different when it comes to relationships and things like that. But Willie Lynch pretty much started the movement of teaching other slave masters how to create a slave and how to make a slave. And some of his major techniques and strategies was to instill fear in the man and put the black woman slave on a pedestal, right? So pretty much in that process, what happened is they pretty much created this idea that if anybody does anything wrong, we're going to fuck the man up, the black man slave up. We're going to fuck him up, right? I mean, they were doing crazy shit, like tying men up to 2 horses and hitting them and having the horses go separately and ripping men in front of everybody. So they would bring all the slaves out to watch this shit. Kids, women, men. The point that I'm trying to get at is fear was highly instilled into the black man. So what did that do? That emasculated the black man. It also took away any type of acceptance of their masculinity. They couldn't walk in it. And because if they did, they would have died or they would have been killed, right? On top of that, the black women were pretty much put on a pedestal in terms of anything. So they still got done fucked up. Don't get me wrong. But when it comes to the worst things or the worst case scenarios on the outcome of shit, men got it the most. And they separated the households. They separated them in a lot of cases. Okay. My point is that's where this whole big mama mindset came from. That's where this whole the black strong woman shit came from in a lot of cases. That's where a lot of this whole concept of black women being the queen of the house idea came from. Empowered black women. It came from that because they were pedestalized in those situations and purposely to take away power from black men. So this is what I'm saying is that happening pretty much further caused the black community to suffer in so many ways because of that trauma. Meaning, even to this day, we're still dealing with that same issue. Okay, black women.
Can I interject real quick?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, here's an example of that. Whenever you maybe you stand up to a woman And a black woman, especially, if you stand up to a black woman for or just don't go along with her stuff, what is she
Mm,
going to? It usually challenges your love for your mother. Your mama black,
yep.
and that's again a trait of that manipulation right there. So because I love my mother, I'm supposed to give you the same respect as my mother.
Hmm.
When you're just a random bitch, I'm trying to fuck.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what's expected, unfortunately, in the black community. I'm gonna be real, man. I think that they and Moff earlier when you were talking about the percentage of women that are unhappy the most, I honestly think that it's more or less black women, and those statistics that you were saying, and that demographic that you were explaining, simply because of this. It's because of all of the lies concerning black women and what they've been, what they've pretty much been taught generation to generation, and it all comes from the traumas of that time frame. And that's why in the black community, it's even worse, yo. Like, it's even worse with this whole mixed match shit, or women walking in masculinity, or black women trying to lead the household, or feeling like they need to be the strongest in the relationship. And I'm a strong woman and all this shit. It's like, yo, calm the fuck down.
Yeah.
You're strong, but I don't need you to be stronger than me. Okay? I'm the man. I'm here to protect you. I'm here to love you. You know, I don't need you to. So I say all of that pretty much to say that in the ethnicity of black people, I think that it is a bit different for us, because a lot of us, we were raised by black women, so it was even further instilled in us, this whole concept and this whole dynamic. You know, that you make the money and you drop it in the woman's hands, and you bring the check and you slap it on the table and the woman get it, and you do all this shit, and it's like, no, you don't do that. You don't make your money and then hand it to your woman, unless you guys have an understanding and a system, and that's how y'all do shit. That's fine. But I'm just saying, like, in all actuality, you don't just take the money to the woman and be like, yo, she gonna say what's gonna happen with the money. Like, no. So I think in the black community, I think it is a bit more rougher, simply because of those traumas that we experience with slavery, with those different tactics to make and create a slave, and to, you know, cause a slave to pretty much be fucked up and not even want to escape or get away, to keep them. That's why it's pretty different for us as black people in this situation. But as we can see, it's in every woman and every man. It's just different. That's all. So I think that's what he was trying to say. I think he was trying to ask, like, how does it differ with ethnicity? It is different. It's definitely different. So yeah. Anybody else want to expound on anything?
Let's have
I'm good.
let's have another
Okay.
question pop up before we,
We got another question, you said? Let's see.
or another comment.
Okay,
And
so
Yeah.
I see what some of these guys are saying. Let's see. I'm gonna go with Sean L real quick. He said a study found 56% of liberal women under 30 are on a mental health medication. Wow, that's deep.
I believe it.
It makes sense.
One of the things I tell guys, I mean, this is, and Sean's a buddy of mine. He does this too. It's like, man, before you consider getting serious with a girl, you need to look at a medicine cabinet. If you can't pronounce it,
Damn.
probably not a good sign.
Man,
If
So
he's
I
on
mean, do
Xanax,
your research,
don't
man.
take.
Like, do your research. Understand how this stuff works. Understand how this affects people's brains and the people, especially the people. Man, I look. I did my last girl that I dated 2.5 years. We lived together, had the dog, the whole thing. She was on 4 or 5 different medications, man. Sleeping pills. She was on, these SSRIs, or these, antidepressants, but they messed her sex drive up. So then they put her on another antidepressant to counteract that one, instead of just just diet was shit, exercise routine was shit, drink coffee all day. I'm not saying that, hey, look, like, if you're depressed, go outside. But, if you're not doing everything you can in your power first to try to mitigate those effects before you just go reaching for a pill, then you got to get your priorities in order. But look, man, it's much easier to do that stuff now. Like, it's so much easy. It's so easy just to go into an office and say, I'm
Yeah.
depressed. And say, here's a prescription. Right? Most people
Which
are
I see
just
a lot of people doing.
you're just in, big pharma's in they're in everybody's pockets. So
hell yeah.
yeah, very, very wise thing to do is if you are with a girl and she's talking about history of anxiety or depression, or being on medication,
Right.
really need to take that seriously, and watch your step.
Oh hell yeah, definitely be careful, guys. I've been down that road with women, big time. And I mean, even and listen, I talk about my mom a lot because I love her. You know what I'm saying? We've been through a lot of shit. She's been through a lot of shit, and we've even had issues amongst each other. But you know, a lot of women have been through a lot of shit in their lives in their childhood. Men too, and a lot of us are walking with traumas that haven't been dealt with, that we haven't faced. And it causes a lot of these issues. And, you know, we just have to be very, you know, aware of that shit. Like Moff is saying too, like, you know, pay attention. Like really check these women out and really pay attention and listen to them. Because women talk. Don't get it fucked up. Women will tell you everything about them. A lot of women tend to hold trauma like it's a fucking award. You know what I'm saying? So they're gonna tell you. They express that damn trauma like it's some type of Grammy or some shit, and they like, you know, they just want an Oscar or something. So they're gonna tell you, listen to them, because then, you know, that'll let you know what you could potentially be getting yourself into too with these women. So powerful
Yeah.
point, man.
That's where not thinking with your heart and your dick comes into play. You listen to, like you said, listen to the women. They start leading with those sob stories. My daddy did this. My mother did that. Red flag, run away. Not that. Freaking keep your dick away from crazy. Don't go. And I learned that from my own mother. Thank goodness. You know, my mother. I played a mama's boy card, but when I talked to her about basically guiding me to be a responsible adult, and she gave me my first dose of red pills, I didn't even know. Never freaking wear a condom 100% of the time. Freaking don't put your dick in crazy. Don't put your dick in crazy women. And
Yeah.
you know, she gave me those little red pills right there, and because I took those seriously, the very few times even my ugly ass got some female attention because I wasn't hot and bothered right there, I'm thinking back in my head, no, I don't have a condom. Hey, let's slow down a little bit. Oh, and then she done with me because I wasn't right there in the moment.
Oh hell no. Man, fuck out of here. If a chick, I'm gonna tell you that's the biggest red flag for me. If I get with a chick and her thing, and I want to put on a condom, and she like, "No, you ain't put no condom, man. Get the fuck out of here."
Yeah.
The hell?
I'm the same way.
That's one of the big.
I'm the same way.
I think that's one of the biggest things with red pill. Like, yo, you got to be stern and you have to be, you know, stand on your 10 toes, man, and be real with these women, and let it be known like you ain't tolerating none of that bullshit. Fuck the pussy.
You know,
Fuck what they got to
what's
offer.
funny too.
Yeah.
It was funny is I think that like a lot of these pills are even making their mental health worse. So it's like, what's the point of even taking the pill in the first place? It's just making it altogether worse. All these side
Yeah,
effects.
just make it.
They've done studies on placebos too, man.
Yeah.
It's like they've done studies where it's like, is it more effective than placebo? And it's like, not all the time. I mean, it's a sugar pill versus this. What actually works? I mean, I think the most important thing that I would tell any guy is take your time with these women, man. Like, take your time getting to know them. Take your time and vet them. And it's not just about like, I've got kind of a policy for myself where I'm going to get involved with a girl. I give it at minimum 6 months before I'm even considering like, all right, boyfriend, girlfriend, monogamous. I'm not going to date anybody else. And it's not just about, you know, I want to run around and see other chicks too and this kind of thing. And I want to create competition anxiety and you need to win me over. There's part of that because look, like girls want to compete for you, right? Like women want to feel like they have to win you. It's the reason why girls love bad boys because she wants to be the one to tame him, right? So, but what a lot of guys fail to realize is that you're not just dating her, you're dating her family. You're dating her friends.
Fact.
So
Oh my
that
God.
6 months, like it gives her that opportunity to let that sort of, you know, she can be all sweet and this and that for 60, 90 days maybe. But eventually, I got in a fight with my mom about this, or like my dad is such an asshole, or my friends this and that and the other. And you're just like, okay, like, is this a life that because you're going to be part of this. You don't get to just opt out, right? If you're in it and you're with this girl, you are now in her life when it comes to that. Otherwise, just keep her at an arm's length and just date her casually. But you date this girl and you decide like, hey, boyfriend, girlfriend, one-on-one, monogamous, marriage even. It's not just her you're with her family, friends, all that other stuff. So by taking your time, not only do you get to see how she acts when things are inconvenience to her or when she's in stressful situations, you get to identify her level of emotional maturity, but you also get to see who else you're going to be basically in bed with on her family and friend side, and if that's something you want to have to deal with for potentially the rest of your life.
Facts. Super facts, man. That's real talk. I think back when I was younger and shit before I really knew anything. And I would have these chicks and I would have these little, girlfriends and whatnot. And first thing they want to do is invite you to some type of family gathering or some shit. And now you're meeting all these people.
Facts.
And it's like they can't wait. It's like they can't wait to say, oh man, my aunt's having this thing. You want to come? I can remember back when I was young, I'd probably been to maybe 5 or 6 of them with different chicks. And, I'm sure that they probably do that for a number of reasons. But what Moff is saying, like, yeah, man, you are going to be in a relationship with these people. People going to be in her ear. They're going to be telling her shit. She going to be listening to every fucking thing that they say, like as if they know shit about men, like as if they know the truth.
But where they at?
It's crazy. But even to go back to what Tony was saying earlier, like, oh, fuck, damn, it just left my mind. But yeah. That's what they're gonna do, man. And I definitely agree with Moff and what he's saying about that. Like when you get with these chicks, you are dating them, you're dating their family, you're dating whoever the fuck it is that's in their ear, family, friends, whoever. So that's a fact, though. Hold up, we got another comment, I think. Okay, Joe Uggs, he said, yeah, fear is handed down. That's a fact. He probably was talking about earlier. Yeah, man, we got a lot of stuff here. It does look like guys are going back and forth on here, but yeah, man, I think that we're definitely touching some powerful points. And red pill, I totally agree. Oh, that's the point I was going to make. So with here's my biggest thing, and it's not really a big challenge. It's just something to think about. So, men, make sure that y'all are being 100 with these women in terms of what your intentions are and what it is that you're trying to do in the situation. So if you're with a chick, right, make it clear. I'm going to tell y'all right now, it's not masculine at all to be fucking with these girls' heads. Because if you mess with their head, you'll potentially put yourself in a situation where now you have to deal with a woman who's emotionally going through some bullshit because they thought it was one way that it wasn't. So if you ain't trying to be in a relationship with these chicks, if you just want to fuck, or if you just want a chick that you could just kind of be cool with, we'll date. Somebody that you just want to vibe with, it's not nothing serious. Communicate that shit. Communicate it. If that's what you want to do. If you want to be a bachelor out this bitch, then make it clear that you're a bachelor to these women. And the reason why I say this is because I'm a father and I have 2 daughters, right? So that right there does change my view a bit. And I'm going to say why it changes my view a bit. Because I have to honestly, I've asked myself this question. How would I feel if my daughters is with a guy, right? And he's pretty much being like this towards my daughters. And, that's something that I think that y'all might want to consider as well. I mean, I know y'all don't have daughters, right? But just act like you did have a daughter. Like, how would I feel if, my daughter is being pretty much being treated in this way or being viewed in this way? Would I want my daughter to be with men like that? Fuck no. You know what I'm saying? Would I want to, so pretty much that's how I look at it. If you don't have a daughter, if you do, just view it that way. However you're going to act with a woman, ask yourself, would I want a man to be like that with my daughter? If you honestly can say in your heart that you wouldn't want to, yeah. If you could honestly say in your mind and in your heart that you would not want a man to be like that with your daughter, don't be like that with these women out here. Because women, they're not gods. They're not, something that we should worship, but they are beautiful, wonderful human beings, guys, that we can, if you find the right one, you can have an awesome, amazing bond with and live a great life with. It may not be the Hollywood. It's going to be some ups and downs. Y'all going to have fights. Y'all going to have to go through different phases when it comes to life and love, right? But it could potentially work out for y'all and you could have a beautiful life with a woman. So I just want to make that clear. That I am anti-women hate, or I'm anti-bashing women, because I truly believe that though we're not supposed to be white knights, men, we are meant to protect women and our women. That's in our immediate domain. You know what I'm saying? I kill somebody over my daughters. I kill somebody over my wife. You understand? So I want to make sure I point all those things out. Some people do kind of view like, the white knight thing and you trying to protect. Yeah, don't protect no hoe. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't Don't be out here trying to save a hoe, and don't be, if a woman is in a crazy position with a man, and the man is doing something wrong to her, she put herself in that position.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? She put herself in that position. Don't try to be a white knight because you fuck around and get choke slammed or get shot. You know what I'm saying? In the situation. You feel me? So just keep these things in mind, guys, because like I said, I do agree with the red pill in that sense, but I don't condone any women bashing, because women, we're different. We are different, and we are literally physically built to withstand more than them. So we do have to keep that in mind when it comes to women, for sure. All right, so Sean, let's see. Sean just said something. He said, let's see. He said, Moff, I posted that because it touched on a couple of things Kevin was saying. So what exactly what he was saying? You know what he was saying, Moff? He said, let's see, Sean, he said, reminds me of the old keep them on the Democratic plantation ideology that started emerging in response to civil rights pressures in the 60s. Oh, so I think he's talking about what I was saying earlier. Let's see. He said, yep. He said, I like to be the guy who reminds people of that uncomfortable fact. After hundreds of years of directly enforcing slavery, Jim Crow, and segregation, the Democrats suddenly become the good guys. Oh, that's a powerful point. Man, we can go there. I mean, if we want to be technical, black people were Republicans first. I mean, let's not get it fucked up. I don't want to go too far into politics, but I have a very huge gripe with that shit. And even our current situation with the Democrats and quote unquote being for black people, fuck out of here. Let me see. Let me see. I can go all day for that, but I can go all day on that. But let's see. Be the example. Okay, Mark P said, be the example of who you will want your daughter to want to be with as a woman. Facts. 100%, man. Even to my men who do not have daughters, man, just act like you do. Just act like you do.
All right. On that note,
Yeah.
I have a female cousin. She's at that age where she could possibly. She's about on the crest of adulthood. What she 16, about to be 17, and I gave it to her straight, as in because I know she doesn't have like legitimate guidance, and she's led by someone who still has a childish mindset. I don't want to bash my relatives per se, but it is what it is. So we over here talk about some stuff, and I'm like, have you made up your mind yet? Do you want to work for a living, or do you want to be a wife? Well, when I threw out the wife card, she was like, I don't want to be a wife because are you going to pay me for that? Like, then you need to work. Because you over here with that attitude right there, trying to have that little entitled attitude towards a man who would be working and providing for you, and you're going to do that? Nah, leave him alone. You meant to be alone. But remember, you're acting like the person you hate. You complain about the most. You're going to go around with that same attitude. You need to unlearn that mess. But at the same time, I was trying to tell her, you're coming to that point where you need to decide. I don't try to tell women to just go ahead and be submissive to a man. I'm saying you need to pick a lane, because you are an adult. These women before you, let's give them some credit. They gave you the equal rights, blah, blah, blah. But with that power, Spider-Man, with great power comes great responsibility. But if you're not a responsible adult who can handle the power that you're given, maybe the position better for you is to be submissive to somebody. But because of that whole factor, that's why they run the big daddy government first. But so I was telling you got to pick a lane. Either A, you are going to work and leave men alone. Yes, men will try to shoot their shot at you because they're men. But if you just decline them and keep moving in your little independent path, you do that. Be integral to what the fuck you're claiming. I will say that to any woman. Any type of woman who says they're independent, I respect you. Yep, facts. You independent. I got you. No problem.
Let's see this independence thing. For sure.
And well, look, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh no, you got it, Tony.
Okay.
Real quick.
Then, if you are going to be a wife, learn how to be submissive and agreeable, but also you have to learn how to vet a man, as in, is he a man that's going to, because, and this is harder for a lot of women to basically just straight up and do, because we're in that feminized world. Men don't know how to be men. We're doing the same shady games as women. I had this conversation with my mother today when we're talking a little bit about this, and she said, well, you know, men do this too. I said, pause. How did they learn how to do that? What do you mean? Remember, we are living in a world where a whole bunch of these single mother households were, correct? So how did they learn? I'm talking this to my own mother. And so, like, I have no problem having this conversation with any fucking female. I don't care. You ain't my mother. You ain't my cousin. We're going to talk these facts, adult. So, but when I hit her with that one, she was like, damn, you right. And that's why I praise my mother, because she's actually a more thorough thinking woman when it comes to the logical conclusion to the independent claim. She's not out here trying to he-man herself up. I don't need no man. She's not on that page. She just, if I'm the adult and I'm going to do this decision, I'm going to do it. It's that cut and dry with her. For the most part, she still has her girly moments. I try to snatch her back every now and then.
Well, that's awesome, man. And, you know, there is some powerful women, man. There's good ones out there, guys. Real quick, there's good ones. So just know that there are some women who embrace their femininity and understand the truth. You can find them. Or you could even be somebody who can kind of help them understand it, which will give you a better position with these women. So keep that in mind. But guys, look, this was an awesome episode, man. We're hitting about 2 hours, man, which is cool. Got in depth. Look, I really enjoyed all of y'all, man, on this episode. Man, thank you, Moff, for coming through, man, giving your powerful insight on Red Pill, man. And I really appreciate your time. You know, and this was dope, man. So we're going to go ahead and wrap it up. Guys, if you're watching, throw a like, subscribe to the channel. We will have the next episode next Sunday, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we're going to dig deep for sure. So look, thank y'all for watching, and most importantly, guys, kings, men, remember, you are the king of your own world. Embrace your masculinity and build your kingdom. All right? Salute to all y'all, man.